We've been dating for over a year, and at this point, we essentially live together. I still have my own apartment, but I only go there once a week to pick up and take care of things. We were both having a rough week, busy with work, and not a lot of time to take care of each other. Neither of us wanted to cook dinner this evening, but she insisted she had to cook, in a way that felt like she was punishing herself. I wanted to get the takeout, so we could both just go easy on ourselves and relax, but she declined. The recipe ended up being a flop. She was really exhausted halfway through and literally told me to come into the kitchen and tell her what to do. She wouldn't let me help, she wanted to do it, but she wanted me to tell her. This was honestly really uncomfortable. She finished the food, which honestly was kind of a flop, but it wasn't that bad. She was pretty upset and ate in silence. She just picked at her food and ended up throwing it away. But like I said, it wasn't amazing, but it was fine, and I ate my portion. I went to go clean up the kitchen after eating. That's our rule. One person cooks and the other cleans. She got upset with me and told me she should clean up because of how bad of a job she did and actually tried to stop me from doing it. I had offered support throughout this, but she had spiraled so much that she had completely shut me out. It left me feeling really anxious and upset. It felt like there was nothing I could do, no one I could be that would fulfill her needs. She could tell I was uncomfortable and asked me to talk about it. It really didn't seem like the right time to dig into my feelings, but she asked me several times and I eventually caved. I explained how I was feeling, and she told me that it's not really fair how sensitive I am to other people's emotions, and that it makes her feel like she has to please her feelings. Once we wrapped that up, she told me she was still hungry, and I offered to cook something or get something. But she said she didn't even have the energy to eat anything, in part because she has been tracking her calories and didn't want to deal with the mess of entering it in. We both took some time to calm down and ended up going for a walk. We stopped for ice cream on the way back, and they accidentally served her a medium instead of a mini size. Because it was more ice cream than she wanted, she said she had to wait until we got home so she could portion it out and measure exactly how much ice cream she was having. I asked her why she couldn't just have some now instead and just eyeball it. She didn't really answer and just kind of moved on. So I walked with her, eating my ice cream and looking at her scowl in anger at this arbitrary rule she set for herself. She said she was sad she had to throw the excess ice cream away, and when I said, "Of course I will eat it," she shamed me and said she thought I was trying to lose weight. We walked in silence for a few minutes, and she saw some tipsy college-aged kids walking on the other side of the street. She remarked on how much she hates this place, and that she is too old to live here anymore. This is pretty much when I lost it for a second. I just stopped in place and shouted out. No words or anything, I just stood there and yelled for about a second. I was just so frustrated that she seemed so determined to have a bad time. She responded by telling me to leave when we got back. She threw her ice cream in the trash, and I packed up some things and left. She sent me a text an hour later that said that yelling like that sends a bad message, that it was very hurtful for me to react that way when she was having a hard time, and that I have a tendency to repress my emotions until they become too large and cause an outburst. I feel terrible for yelling and upsetting her. Her behavior up to that point was self-destructive and very upsetting. No one wants to see their partner thrashing around like that. I felt completely boxed out and disallowed from actually supporting her because every action she took was self-flagellating. Maybe she's right, and I am selfish, and I don't know how to make space for other people. How did we even get to this point? Is this something our relationship can recover from, or is it even worth it? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Jesus. This sounds exhausting. Not sure why you think you've done anything wrong here. She is a nightmare, constantly gaslighting you and reveling in martyrdom and victimhood. What a joy. She has kicked you out to assert power, by the way. She wants you to grovel back. You shouldn't. It's okay to have a miserable day, but compatible people unite against it, laughing together. Comment 2. Sounds like you both could use a vacation. Somewhere with no calorie counting or negative self-talk allowed. Just focus on enjoying each other's company. And don't worry, yelling out in frustration is a natural reaction. Maybe next time try screaming into a pillow instead? Keep communicating and working on finding healthy coping mechanisms together. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. So much has happened since my last post. Remember that evening when she was upset about the dinner? Well, things escalated quickly after that. A few days later, I found out she had been messaging her ex. It was an accident. A notification popped up when I was using her phone to order pizza. I wasn't snooping, but there it was, his name, right on the screen. I confronted her about it, and she tried to brush it off as nothing, just catching up. But the messages I saw weren't just friendly banter. They were intimate, full of inside jokes and memories. It felt like a punch in the gut. I couldn't believe she'd go behind my back like that, especially after everything we've been through. The next day, she lost her job. Her boss found out she'd been taking credit for a colleague's work. It was a huge blow to her, and she came home in tears. I wanted to be there for her, but it was hard to forget the betrayal I'd just uncovered. Still, I tried to support her, helped her update her resume, and even reached out to a few contacts to see if they had any job leads. But then, her ex showed up at our door. He was in town and wanted to talk to her. She insisted on meeting him alone, said it was to get closure. I didn't trust him, or her for that matter, but I agreed. What else could I do? They met at a coffee shop, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. So I went there, just to see for myself. And there they were, laughing and touching hands across the table. It was like I didn't exist. I walked away before they could see me, my heart racing and my mind a mess. When she got home, she acted like nothing happened, but I couldn't hold it in anymore. I told her I saw them, and she finally broke down, admitting she still had feelings for him. She said she was confused and didn't know what she wanted anymore. I was furious, hurt, and felt like a fool. I told her she needed to figure things out, but without me. I packed my bags and went back to my apartment. She cried, begged me to stay, but I couldn't. Not after all the lies and the cheating. It's been a week since I left, and it's been the hardest week of my life. I miss her, but I also feel relieved. It's like I can finally breathe again. I've been reconnecting with old friends, focusing on work, and trying to move on. She's been calling and texting, saying she made a mistake and wants to work things out. But I can't go back to that. I need to respect myself more than that. It's over, and it's time for both of us to move forward separately. Thanks for reading. Aita for confronting my ex about her mixed signals and ending our friendship. When she started spreading rumors, I dated a girl several years ago. We broke up but stayed friends after. Last year, I started to see her as more than just a friend and asked her if she was interested in trying it again. She said she is not because she is not physically attracted to me anymore. I left it at that, but we still stayed friends. Then she got into a new relationship that ended a few months later. She came to me for advice and support. After that, she said that she started to see me in a new light and might consider dating me, but can't know because of the recent breakup. What then happened is she started to distance herself and started to ignore me for some time. We kind of reconciled at one point, and I fully accepted that we are just friends after she again reiterated in absolute and clear terms that she is absolutely not attracted to me and cannot ever imagine being so in the future. Shortly after, I started to date someone else. She knew I met someone because I told her. We, the friend, met at her place about 2 weeks later as just friends and just chatted. This time I was chill, relaxed around her as I did not look at her romantically anymore. We had a great time in chat, actually. But the next day, she drops a very confusing text message along the lines of, "After yesterday's great time we had, I have been wondering that perhaps at some point, I might actually start becoming attracted to you. I'm not saying this will happen, but I'm just wondering. And I wanted to ask if this were to happen, would you be interested in me telling you?" I found this message confusing, as I finally stopped being stubborn by chasing her so much, and accepted it when she told me less than a month ago that she is absolutely not attracted to me and cannot ever imagine being so in the future. Initially, I just replied that, yeah, sure, you can tell me if that happens, but I don't know how I will react as I kind of got over you. But it kept bugging me. I kind of started getting offended by her message. Like, she told me for a year how she is not attracted to me at all. And now out of the blue, she says that she might, perhaps, maybe, but not guaranteed to be attracted at some undefined future. So I confronted her and told her how this made me feel. And why now, after we just sorted things out? We got into a fight that ended quite ugly. I don't think we will ever talk again, even as friends, as in her opinion, I was a jerk, and she was only being vulnerable with me in that moment when she wrote that message. And I used that against her. She said I overreacted and hurt her very badly by making an issue out of this, and that it is again me who cannot handle being just friends, as her message and question didn't really mean anything, and that she was just wondering. It was me who took it further, imagining to be more behind it. Am I the jerk? Can this be fixed? And can we become friends again? I really do not want to date her anymore and like her friendship, but all of this stuff that happened is very confusing to me. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She is a terrible friend, and she does not want you. She just wants to be wanted by you and have your sole attention. And she was willing to disrupt your current relationship with, I cannot promise anything, but maybe. That is the epitome of selfishness. She could not be happy that you have moved on, and she wanted to keep you on a tight leash so she could yank it whenever she wanted. It is a good thing you went your separate ways. Comment 2. If you have any respect, even a slither, for your current girlfriend, the one who was actually interested in you and did not have to wait until you got over her, you will cut off your super confusing ex-girlfriend/friend. I would not be comfortable at all if I found out my boyfriend kept his old girlfriend around, especially after she was like, hey, one day I might be attracted to you again. I will let you know. Now for the update. Thanks for keeping up with my story. Well, things took a turn for the worse. After our fight, I thought that was it. But no, she had to go and tell our mutual friends about our argument, painting me as the bad guy. Suddenly, I was getting cold shoulders left and right. It was like high school all over again, with whispers and rumors. I couldn't believe it. I mean, we were adults, right? Then, out of nowhere, my new girlfriend started acting strange. She was distant, and I couldn't figure out why. Turns out, my so-called friend had reached out to her, spun a tale about how I was still hung up on her and that my girlfriend was just a rebound. That stung. I had to spend nights explaining and reassuring my girlfriend that it wasn't true. It was exhausting. But wait, it gets better. My ex-friend's new boyfriend, who apparently didn't exist until now, confronted me at a bar. He accused me of trying to break them up. I had no idea what he was talking about. I hadn't even seen her since our last fight. It was like she was on a mission to turn my life upside down. I thought I had it under control until my sister got involved. She had been close with my ex-friend and decided to mediate. Big mistake. They ended up arguing, and my sister revealed something that blew my mind. My ex-friend had been lying about her feelings for me because she was jealous of the attention I gave to other people. She wanted me on a string, and when I finally cut it, she couldn't handle it. The aftermath was messy. My sister and I had a falling out because I blamed her for meddling. My girlfriend was on edge, not sure if she could trust me or our relationship. And my social circle split down the middle, some siding with me, others with her. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, my ex-friend's new boyfriend dumped her. He had enough of her games. She came to me, of all people, looking for a shoulder to cry on. Can you believe that? After everything she did, she thought I'd be there for her. I wasn't. I told her to leave me alone, that I was done with her drama. She didn't take it well. She started a scene right there on my doorstep, crying and shouting. Neighbors peeked through their curtains. It was a spectacle. In the end, she left, and I was left to pick up the pieces of my life. My girlfriend and I are working through it, but it's tough. My sister and I are talking again, but it's not the same. And my social life, well, let's just say it's a lot quieter these days. Thanks for reading. Aita for confronting my husband about hiding our marriage. And kids from his life. My husband, 32 years old, and I, 32 years old, have been together for 10 years. We eloped and didn't invite any family to our wedding. We told them all after the fact, but it was just a casual, yeah, we got married. No celebration, no party afterward, no social media announcement, nothing. His excuse was that he doesn't like several members of his family, and to avoid it being awkward, he would rather just elope. Honestly, it didn't really bother me much at the time. because my family is spread out, and I also don't really like being the center of attention anyway. I let myself think the spontaneity of it all, and being just the two of us was fun and romantic. We don't even have any photos of our wedding day. Then, when I got pregnant with our first baby, my husband wouldn't tell anyone. He didn't want me to tell anyone for months either, but he never really gave me a real reason. I was 5 months along and at the point where I wouldn't be able to hide it for much longer, when he texted his parents to tell them and asked them to tell everyone else. I know his parents sort of wanted all of their kids to marry people from successful families, from the same world they're from. They're not wealthy or anything like that, but they're from the right side of town, you know? They're from a certain segment of people in our city. I am not. My family lives in the poor area of town, although they're hard workers and are educated. Well, some of my extended family are essentially uneducated, unmotivated hillbillies, but my immediate family and my grandparents are not. I went to college, but I got a useless degree. I didn't know any better at the time. So I'm not rolling in money. I have an important job, but it's very low paying. I don't think I'm trashy or embarrassing or anything like that. I always thought I was physically cute, pretty. People used to tell me I was. Now, I feel like I must be ugly. I wonder if I always had a warped sense of self and am actually way less attractive than I thought I was. Anyway, I don't know if any of that is why my husband acts the way he does or what. I feel like he wants to just sort of hide me away. He also never posts about me on social media. I don't really care too much about social media, but I think it's weird that he's on Facebook and Instagram and never posts any photos of me or mentions of me ever. And we share children together. He hates PDA, and that's not a big deal because a lot of people hate that. But he's uncomfortable even holding hands. One time he held my hand all weekend long, and I remember feeling so happy. Of course, we were on vacation on the opposite side of the country where nobody knew us. Coincidence or no? Trying to get some outside perspective. Does anyone else think his behavior is strange? He's always been like this with me. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Maybe he is an introvert who doesn't like to show anything in public. And maybe he knows that his family is judgmental and he just wants to avoid confrontation. Maybe he is the kind of guy who hates attention. And when I am on vacation, I hold my partner's hand more often. I am relaxed, etc. The thing is, we don't know him. But do you really think he would marry you and have children if he was ashamed of you? Comment 2. Have you talked to him about all of this and how you're feeling? If not, you definitely need to. Strangers on Reddit can't give you any more insight than your husband can. Maybe he has reasons for acting this way, whether good or bad. Once you know what those reasons are, then you can figure out what to do with that information. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around after my last post. So, things have been pretty hectic lately. Just last week, my husband got a promotion at work. It was a big deal, and his company threw a party for him. Everyone was there, his colleagues, his boss, even his parents. But guess who wasn't invited? Me. Yeah, I found out about the party from a photo on social media. It stung, not gonna lie. I confronted him about it, and he said it was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and that he didn't think I'd be interested. But come on, it's his promotion party. I should have been the first person on that guest list. It's like he's ashamed of me or something. Then, there's the whole thing with our neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins. She's this sweet old lady who always asks about me and the kids. She mentioned she never sees me at any of the community events. I told her my husband never mentions them to me. She looked surprised and said she always sees him there, chatting with everyone. It's like he has this whole other life that I'm not a part of. And remember how I said we don't have any wedding photos? Well, I found out that's not entirely true. My husband's sister let it slip that there's a family album with a picture of us from a distant cousin's wedding, where we're in the background. I've never seen it. He's never mentioned it. It's like he's erased me from his history. I've been thinking a lot about why he might be acting this way. My family's not from the right side of town, and I don't come from money. Maybe he's embarrassed by that. Maybe he thinks I'm not good enough for his fancy work parties or to be shown off to his friends. But here's the kicker. Last night, he came home late, and I could tell something was off. He sat me down and told me he's been feeling overwhelmed with work and the pressure from his parents to keep up appearances. He admitted he's been hiding me away because he's scared of what people will think about us, about me. I was shocked. I mean, I had my suspicions, but hearing him say it out loud was a whole other thing. It's like he's been living a lie, and I've been part of it without even knowing. I told him that's not okay, that I'm his wife and we're a team. We should be proud of each other, no matter what anyone else thinks. It was a tough conversation, but I think it was a wake-up call for him. So he did something unexpected. He posted a photo of us on social media with a caption about how proud he is of his family. It might seem small, but it was a huge step for him. His friends and colleagues started commenting, saying nice things about us. It felt good, like maybe things are starting to change. I'm not saying everything's fixed now. It's going to take a lot of work to get past this, but it feels like we're moving in the right direction. Thanks for reading, it means a lot. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!